Here's the part about being a spiritual healer that no one talks about. When you are someone who can spill spirit, channel messages, you get to feel some aspect of who that person was when they were here. And sometimes it feels amazing. And other times it can remind you of a wound that you had so that you could explain to the person that you're giving the message to. So tonight, I was channeling a message for someone. And as they were talking, I could literally feel the pain, the overwhelm, the resistance in their throat chakra, the overwhelming sadness in the person's being, just lingering. So I started explaining to them, because what they had done was they were speaking about a loved one that passed, that transitioned. And the person was basically saying that they didn't know why. So they were speaking, and basically they were asking me a question with a statement. And they never said, tell me, but their being was asking me to tell them. So, and their loved one was present. So I started explaining to them basically what was going on, or what I was feeling. And as I explained to them, there were periods where I needed to pause, because I started reflecting back to a time when I was younger, when I was emotionally overwhelmed and depressed and saddened, and felt like I was misunderstood, that I was a burden to those that I love, because I didn't understand myself. I couldn't explain things about myself, and the things that I did explain were rejected to some degree, or misunderstood because it was rejected, or rejected because it was misunderstood. And so I started explaining to him that when I was a certain age, I was explaining to him what it felt like. And as I explained it to him, he got really quiet. And then there was a silence, because the air was thick after I said everything I needed to say. And he said, well, that answers a lot of questions. Thank you. And for me, I could feel that though I gave the information and I brought clarity for him, that the person that he was speaking of still was holding that weight, because they had not yet fully been let go. And when things like this happen, what I know, or what I've experienced in my work with ancestors, is ancestors can have one foot in the physical dimension and one foot in the spiritual dimension, because their family members are still mourning them and holding on to them, and still, when people say my ancestors don't play about me, and they're still doing things that could, taking out revenge on other people and different things like that, it's very possible that they haven't yet ascended, because they become deep ancestors when they ascend, higher ancestors, because they're now back one with a source. And even though they transition into their own next lifetime, or the other work that they need to do, they still can be called upon to assist you. And so she was prepared to ascend. because she understood that she had held on to that weight long enough, and she held on to it long enough for that information to be conveyed. So now I am sitting here at my desk long after the person is gone, long after the spirit has went through its ascension process, and I am now processing for myself. And this is the part that spiritual healers don't talk about. When we then have to go within and identify this part of us that we may not have gotten to, the layer in the onion of all the things that we worked through that still lingers, that we didn't know was there. There's a part of me that wants to write. And then there's another part of me that just wants to sit with this aspect of myself, just to be present for her while she works through where she was and where we are now, to give thanks for all the work that has been done, but also to be acknowledged in where we were before. And this is the work that healers do when nobody's watching, when nobody's listening, when there's no messages to give, when it's just us. And I never regret the work that I do. And I'm always thankful for opportunities to allow another part of me to be acknowledged and healed, and to feel more well, to experience emotions I can now give words to show an aspect of myself, love, that may not have been able to receive it before.